Who's actually getting the most out of a countertop pizza deck oven, and who should walk away before they spend a few $100s? If you're wondering whether a professional-grade oven belongs in your home kitchen, or if it's better saved for a food truck or small-scale pizzeria, this is the question we'll unpack. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The biggest hesitation most buyers feel is the fear of buying a machine that sits idle because it's either too big for everyday meals or too finicky for a weekend-only pizza hobby, and the price point doesn't help that anxiety. Let's start with the basics of the setup. The Baker's Pride P18S is a 2082 40-volt countertop unit that runs on commercial power, so the first thing you need to confirm is that your space can actually feed that voltage. For a home cook, that usually means a dedicated circuit in a garage, a converted basement, or a catering prep area. The oven itself is about the size of a standard kitchen island, which makes it fit on a sturdy countertop, but not on a cramped countertop next to a dishwasher. Once you've cleared that hurdle, the next question is, will you actually use it enough to justify the installation effort? If you're a serious home pizza enthusiast who spends every weekend perfecting crusts, or if you run a small catering operation that needs to pop a few pies between orders, the P18S can become the workhorse you've been missing. The deck surface is designed for that high, even heat that gives a crust that classic pizzeria snap, something you just can't replicate in a home oven without a pizza stone and a lot of guesswork. In real-world terms, I've seen people throw a frozen pizza in and have it come out with a crust that's closer to a brick oven result than a grocery store bag-ready slice. That's a practical win for anyone who sells pizza by the slice or wants to impress friends with a restaurant-level pie. On the flip side, if you only bake a pizza once a month, or you're more interested in quick weeknight meals than a dedicated pizza night, the P18S might feel like an overkill. The unit's power draw means you can't just plug it into a regular 120-volt outlet. You'll need a qualified electrician to install the proper circuit, which adds a hidden cost that many first-time buyers overlook. That upfront investment can easily tip the balance for someone whose primary goal is convenience rather than culinary precision. One practical strength of the Baker's Pride brand is its reputation in the food service world. The P18S benefits from that heritage, meaning the heating elements are built for durability under continuous use. In a small CAF setting, that translates to an oven that can fire off a dozen 12-inch pies in an hour without the temperature wobbling. For a home user, the same reliability means you won't be watching the thermostat needle dance every time you slide a pizza in. You set the temperature, let it preheat, and the oven holds that heat steady enough to give you consistent results, which is something you can actually notice when you compare a batch of pies baked back-to-back. A less obvious drawback is the learning curve around airflow and deck positioning. Unlike a convection microwave where you just push a button, the P18S relies on radiant heat from the deck and the top heating element. If you're new to deck ovens, you'll quickly learn that the distance between the pizza and the deck matters. Too close and you'll scorch the bottom, too far and the crust stays soggy. This isn't a flaw in the product, but it does mean that the first few pizzas may be a bit of trial and error. For seasoned pizza makers, that's a minor adjustment. For beginners, it can feel like a steep hill to climb. Another practical consideration is cleaning. The deck surface is stainless steel, which holds up well to high heat, but food residue can bake onto it if you forget to scrape it after each use. Because the oven is built for a commercial environment, it doesn't have removable stone plates that you can toss in a dishwasher. You'll need to allocate a few minutes after each shift, or after each home pizza night, to scrub the deck with a non-abrasive pad and a bit of hot water. That extra maintenance step is something to factor in if you value a hand-off cleanup routine. Now, let's talk about the value proposition beyond the headline specs. The price point places the P18S in a sweet spot between entry-level home pizza ovens and full-size brick oven setups. You get a commercial-grade heat source without the need for a full brick construction, which would require a dedicated space and significantly higher installation costs. In other words, you're paying for the heat quality of a brick oven, the footprint of a countertop appliance, and the reliability that comes with a brand used by professional kitchens. For a small business, that means a lower barrier to entry. For a home chef, it means a realistic chance to serve restaurant style.